Alrighty, y'all. So I am working through these Walmart customer return mowers that I have. If you haven't know the back story of my channel, that's kind of what I build the channel upon. Working on lawnmowers in general, but the cornerstone is definitely these Walmart customer returns I've been doing for about 4 years. This one is a big wheel Murray with a 21-inch cut 450E series Briggs and Stratton. They keep depowering the mowers because these used to have like 550 series on them, or 500. I think it started with 550, went to 500. Now they have the 450 on them. So it won't be long. Everything's gonna have the 300 on them. This one is a brand new, never been used to cut grass push mower. It was not in the box. Some of them I get in the box, some of them I don't. Well, let me show you what it is doing, and it's going to be one of two things. And before I say what it is, although it's probably in the title of the video, guess my two possibilities. Put y'all right there. So I'm going to pull it and just listen to the sound that it makes. So I'll give you a minute to guess, but it's going through the basically the exhaust is coming out the intake is what it sounds like. Not smoking. Sounds like it's trying to fire, but it's really not. So if you got your guesses, here are the two things I think it could be. The first thing we're going to check is the flywheel key, and if the flywheel key is sheared, the second thing we're going to check is the head gasket. I have had to do a head gasket on one of the, I believe it's the 6 or maybe the 725 series last year, if you want to check that video out. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description below of the head gasket replacement on that snapper 725 Briggs. We're going to get this thing up on the lift here, or the filing cabinet, electronics cabinet, whatever you want to call it, and we'll take off the engine cover and see if we can diagnose this thing. So I'm hoping this will be a relatively short video, but we will find out. First off, I'm going to make sure y'all are in good shape. There we go. A little bit of light, that's all right. 5/16 inch. Sometimes the screwdriver version of this works. Ratchet. Take these three nuts off the top here. This one, some of these have these little accessory engine covers on them. You got to take off. The best way to get it is a screwdriver. You pop it off the back here. Just take the corner. Just be careful. It's just a decorative cover. If you break it, it's not going to necessarily be the end of the world. I'm going to take this out. Flywheel key is the easiest to check, which is why we're starting there, because I should have this done in 5 minutes or less. Engine cover's out of the way. Next thing we're going to check is the nut. So let me grab my impact. (15/16 inch) socket. If you're a small engine person working on small engines, 15/16 comes very handy. Get the flywheels and stuff off. Alright. So, flywheel key. as you can see, is in the groove like it's supposed to. So the most likely culprit, and it's not that big of a deal, it's just going to involve me taking off a little bit of stuff on the front of the motor here. The most likely culprit is not the flywheel key. It's going to be very likely the head gasket, and I figured that was probably the case because of the sound that it makes, to where it's like a lot of back pressure coming through the intake. So we're probably going to find that it is busted, broken in between the I guess the intake and the exhaust, since it's letting exhaust out the intake side. But out of curiosity, because the snapper video, I believe these are 7/16. They're not. They're probably 12 mil. I'll know my 10 mil Casey. That's the most common size nut you're gonna find. A lot of shirt memes and stuff, but I'm not gonna loosen these. I'm actually gonna see if they're loose themselves, because I had a manufacturer defect. That one's tight. That one's tight. I think this one might have been the loose one on the other mower that I had. And that one's also tight. And number 4, down here on the bottom, is also tight. So, next order of business is taking the head off. Pull the spark plug out. Just go ahead and do this in one clip. Let's see if y'all can see okay. Yes, you can. Put the plug wire out of the way. Take 10 mil. Be better with an impact, but I don't have an impact. Actually, I do, but I just don't have it available. That one's all super tight. That one's all extremely tight. Wow. I am going to get an impact for that 4th one. And I'll stop y'all here for a second. Alright, let me show you what I got here. So I'm going to have to take the carburetor off, but I just haven't gotten to that yet. It smells like it had tried to have gas in it at one point. Took the 4 bolts out. I am going to attack the carburetor next and take that off, and that should allow me to get the head completely off. And I'm going to have to take it's either 5/16 or 3/8, I can't remember. 5/16, and I'll go ahead and take the overhead valve cover off as well. That way we can line the valves back up with the rods whenever. But on first glance, I actually cannot tell by looking. Actually, I think I can. I think I see some leakage down at the bottom. But let me get this head off. Really easy. 2 7 mils. 2 5/16. That'll get you off. Get this cover off, and then it's a matter of just sliding it out, disconnecting the gas line, and just disconnecting the linkages, which are easy enough. It's just one linkage on this non-auto choke carburetor. So we'll do that real quick. Alright, so I got that cover off. It just pulls right off. I got the gas line off. Again, pair of pliers, wiggle it off of the nipple there. Pulling the carb out. We're going to put that on my tray over here, just in case it leaks, which it is. That's okay though. That's what that tray's there for. Grab those items off of there. And we've got a clean that carburetor out anyways. Okay, head's clear. Head's clear. The exhaust is on it. You can pull it off just like so. There's your rods. Just got to make sure that it's good like that. So let's take a look. Actually, y'all probably would like a look as well. I don't see any. This one is not obvious like the snapper one was. Let me get it over here on the. The valves look like they're seating okay. Obviously, we will fix that. I could have, which might have been easier, just seeing if the valves were going back and forth as long as it wasn't like a slipped valve or a rod that just slipped off of the valve, but it wasn't clanking or anything like that. My guess is that the gasket, let's take the gasket off and see if it's more obvious on the side of the mower itself. My guess is that doesn't make sense though, unless we see on the inside here. I don't know, y'all. Do y'all see anything abnormal? I see a little bit of oil right there, but I don't see anything else that is alarming. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a wire wheel, clean all this off. I will, just to eliminate the potential gasket issue here, I have, excuse me, I've got plenty of these down here. So I'm just going to swap one off of a blown up engine that I have. I'm just going to see if it works. But we'll find out if that works or what the deal is here, or what's going on. Either way, it'll be a good instructional video of how to put a head gasket in. So fast forward, I went ahead and took the head gasket off of the donor mower. I'm going to go ahead and put the head on it as well, just to eliminate any and all possibility as to potential issues with it. And I'm just going to take a drill real quick, and I'm just going to clean that off, and then that way this gasket will at least adhere. Actually, this is the wrong gasket. I'm sorry. This gasket here will at least adhere to the mower well, and still in good shape. So we're going to go ahead and put it on, and hopefully cure our head gasket problem. Like I said, I didn't really see any burn areas where it's come through, except possibly on the bottom down there where it wasn't adhering very well. Maybe because that one right there on the top was very tight, but we'll see. Okay, so I got the rods and everything back here, and I am going to put, let's say I got everything cleaned off here. I'm going to put the gasket, this other gasket on that came off of the other mower. Your rods are the same, so you really got to worry about what goes on what side. But they just pop in like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide, I'll put y'all over here. I'll slide the head back on. Have head bolts ready as well. Again, if you want to put a brand new head gasket on it, you can do that. I'm just doing this for testing purposes, honestly, just to see if it works. Remember, it is $100-ish lawnmower. It's not, you know, $30,000 car or anything like that. It's actually really easy to get those onto the loads whenever we put the head back on here. Yeah, gotta let it win the tool that you want out of reach. Thread these in a little bit. Like I said, I just took the whole head off of the other mower. I'm putting it on here. But same thing persists. You just put the head back on it. So the procedure is no different than what I'm doing here. We're just gonna run it in very slowly. We're not going to go very far either because I don't want to bend the rods before I get it straight. We'll go about right there. Take my 5/16. Just take this valve cover off. Then I have to align the valve with the loads. Before I go too much further, I'll also show you all the way that the valves are supposed to go in, or the rods. Okay, and I'll give you an example here. So you have, I believe it goes on like this. Whenever it goes on your mower, you see these two holes right here, and right there. So that's where your intake and your exhaust go respectively. And those are the holes that you fit the rods through when you slide it back on. I forgot to show you all that after I put the head back on. But now we get to have fun. And there's the valve guide spacers there, so we need to make sure those don't get taken off. And I'm gonna put y'all back. Haven't done one of these in a while, y'all. It's been almost a year. But this goes in like so, with a little lip on it, with a little indent right there. It's actually out kind of far. So that's the way that one's supposed to be. These will fit like they're supposed to. Once you get them tight on there, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the 10 mil, which I have right here, and a 1/4 inch ratchet. We're just going to ease these things in. It's a little bit difficult to get them in the loads on the engine themselves. Yes. We're going to see if we can get these rods on the lobes real quick. Let's do that. There we go. You'll hear a little latch whenever you do it as well. That will likely give you an indication that it's on its load. And they're supposed to go, the guides, I mean, they go pretty straight back too, so it's not really science. You just need to make sure that you have everything lined up correctly. So now we'll go ahead. I could impact it at this point, but I really don't want to mess anything up. So we're going to go the slow way. Should get a kind of slow start here. It's getting dark, but I'd love to hear this thing run tonight. We'll find out. Not. Okay, just make sure the valves are on correctly. These should be gapped pretty well since this is a brand new mower. We'll find out if they are or not very shortly. What I'd love to do is just pull that valve cover on and see if it's backburn out like it was. Or shooting stuff out of the intake like it was. And if it is, we'll be investigating further into this awesome little mower. Nice little ways to go on that one. There we go. Just got threads going into aluminum, so that's why I'm trying to be kind of careful, not using impact. Not going to try to over tighten either. That's plenty. More than enough to accomplish what the task that it needs to accomplish. Tell you what, if I get the head gasket right and there's not backfire through the exhaust, I'm gonna wait until the daylight and then we're gonna go to town on this. Let's see. After dark, because I really don't like to run mowers after it gets dark, just out of respect for the neighbors and stuff like that. Let's see, I'm trying to find my 3/8" ratchet. Let me find the tools that I need, and I'll be right back. Alright, so found the tool, took the plug out as well. So now what I've got is the handle tied back, spark plugs out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test to make sure that the valves are turning. If we get that out of the way. Alright, so That indicates that all the valves are in the lobes like they're supposed to be. We've got a free turning everything here. And so what I'm going to do now is, it doesn't have any fuel or anything, so I'm just going to put the plug in. I'm going to keep the wire off of it. And we're going to see if we can turn it by hand. If we can, let's see if we're getting any loud, like, popping or unwanted noise, if you know what I mean, coming from it. Okay. So let's do this now. Sounds good. What I'll do now, I'm going to go ahead and put the flywheel cup locking nut back on here. Fits in just a couple of grooves like that, since we determined that it is not the flywheel, or the flywheel key, excuse me. So we'll go ahead and put that back on. Give it a nice impact down. Should be more than plenty. And let me put the pull rate back on. I'll get it on the ground. Before I put the valve cover back on it, I'm going to spin it over and see if it does what it needs to do. As in, you know, it doesn't leak from the head, which is my suspected diagnosis, but we'll see if I'm right. Alright, back down on the ground, and I want to mind you that I don't have any exhaust on it. I don't have any intake on it at this point, so you'll hear the exhaust, but I'll show y'all that the issue, let me get that jack handle out of the way. The issue has been resolved. So the two symptoms of that were, you heard a lot of back pressure coming out of the intake. You couldn't see it, but that's what the back pressure was, that loud noise, like that gush of air that you usually don't hear. And the other issue was, I don't know if y'all saw how hard it was for me to pull it originally. Now it is much easier to pull it, and it's not making that awful noise. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, because it's getting dark and work calls early in the morning, go ahead and put the accessories back on, give the carburetor probably a good little quick clean before I put it back on, and we'll start this thing up in the daylight tomorrow. I think we got a good one here. So y'all know I was curious. Any good mower mechanic, you get close on a given night, you want to hear this thing run. So I pulled it a couple times. It's got good oil in it. Like I said, the mower I don't think has ever been used to cut grass, from what I can tell. Deck's basically still nice and shiny underneath. No back pressure or anything like that, so that's a good thing. You and I'll hopefully hear this thing run for the first time. Since it's dark, I'm not going to run it for long, just so I don't disturb the neighbors, but there y'all go. So it ended up being the head gasket, which any of those that are mechanically inclined watching this video, give me your thoughts. Where do you think it failed right there at the bottom of the cylinder? Usually they don't fail right there. Usually I thought they failed somewhere in between the intake and the exhaust, but I'm not seeing anything. Do you think it could be a warped head? Is there anything that y'all see that I don't? I'd love to hear your feedback, comments, stuff like that. However, I guess at the end of the day, it was a head gasket that was causing all the back pressure and whatnot. So if you're hearing that coming out of your mower engine, likely I have to put a head gasket in it. Of course, I had one on hand here. If you bought one, they should be around $20 or less, usually with the new Briggs stuff here as of 2019 or so. Unless you rob it off of another engine, you're likely going to have to go to a Briggs & Stratton authorized dealer as opposed to finding it online. At least that's the experience I had last year with the snapper. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Again, comments, feedback. What do y'all think? Where do y'all think that head gasket failed? Y'all saw the video footage. I don't see it, but if y'all do, please point it out. I'd love to learn as well, because all the head bolts were tight and everything. So thank y'all again. As I keep pulling these out, I might find more videos, more content, and catch you on the next one.